Hello, y'all, and welcome back to another show of Many Thoughts with Dr. T, show reviews. And today we are talking about the next episode of Never Ever Met. I can't remember the episode, but I'll make sure I put it in the description. I'm trying to hurry up and record this for my kids get home and start making a lot of noise. Okay. So let me put this up on the stage. All right, here we go. All right, this was a really good episode. We had a lot of twists and turns. So in the first scene, we see Ty making breakfast for Brittany, and then also not only made it, but like did the whole breakfast in bed, and the guys were really upset. Like, man, you making us look bad. So that was pretty funny. Oh, let me go to them. And y'all know who the people are by now. I don't think I still need to do this. Um, So yeah, I thought it was a great job to Ty for actually listening. So he heard what she said, and he's actually taking steps to make her feel special. So I was like, good job, Ty. Um, so yeah, that pretty much was that. I guess Brittany wasn't feeling well, so he offered to take it up to the room with for her and everything. And then I was laughing because Charlie and her little confessional, the one that has the kids, the side kids, well, not side kids, but well, the kids, the secret kids. She had the nerve to say, "Yeah, if they keep this up, I think their relationship can work out." And I'm like, "Girl, you need to be quiet and worry about your relationship that's definitely not gonna work out. You just don't know it." So I don't know why she felt like she was the authority and she knew whose relationship was gonna work out or not. I was like, "Girl, little do you know, you're gonna be leaving here by yourself too." Okay. So then, Tatiana and Clay, this is just so sad, y'all. I thought Charlie and Jared's relationship was sad at first because he definitely is stringing her along too, and then Kiki is stringing Brandon along. But I think the Tatiana and Clay thing takes the cake because Clay is going so overboard to show her love, and so the downfall and when he slips that carpet from up under her is really gonna be bad. But anyway, Tatiana and Q, they have a talk about their relationship. Um, I'm sorry, not Tatiana and Clay. Tatiana and Kiki, I think is what I was trying to say. They were having a talk about their relationship, and she's struggling to let Brandon in. But we know it's because she's still with that ex. That's why. And then Tatiana says she is struggling to let Clay in because she needs to find out who he really is. So Kiki is definitely wrong for stringing Brandon along. Like I said, I don't know. Like, what was the point of coming on this show? Like, if you have somebody you're still in love with, you still got an ex. I don't know if this was to make the ex jealous. I'm starting to think that's more what this is for her to be like, well, I got somebody, hoping that ex will get jealous, I guess. I'm not really sure why she went through all the trouble to come on the show and when you're not really into Brandon like that, or you're not ready to be in a relationship with Brandon. Um Either that or is a free vacation, 3-day resort stay, all expenses paid, all the food and drink you can have. I don't know. Cause she's still not opening up or anything. So I feel sorry for Brandon. He seems like a good guy. And then I'm glad Tatiana does have some intuition that something's amiss with Clay. So I'm glad that she's being slow to fully open up to him. Or so I thought at the beginning of the episode. So now it's time for one of the classic Never Ever Met games that make no sense, but this one was actually good. I could see how you could get some needed information out of this. So they all go outside, and this is like, I forgot the name of that game back in the day. It was something. What was it called? Something with married couples. But anyway, it's the same concept. The host says a statement, and then both people have to write down what they think the answer is. and then you flip over your board to see if the answers match. Essentially, is what it was. So the first question is, what is her favorite color? Um, I mean, I thought this would have been pretty easy. It's probably one of the basic first things you learn about somebody. But I was surprised. The only people that got it right was Tatiana and Clay, Jay and Cinco, and then Kiki and Brandon. Okay, so that was the first one. Then the next question was, what is his favorite food? Um, again, I didn't think this was too hard. I thought that was like a basic thing that you ask somebody when you're first dating. Um, so this one, Kiki and Brandon got it right, and I think Clay and Tatiana got it right, and then Chris and Alexis. Um, and then Cinco, it was so funny. The producers, they're so funny because they set this up perfectly. So at the beginning, Cinco was like, "Yeah, I know we're gonna win because we're one of the best couples in here, and we don't have any problems." And I was like, "Just wait." And so he got the color right. So when it was time to get the food, the women had to guess the guy's food, and she got it wrong. So I just put a small pin in that. I was like, So you think you guys are just so tight, and you got yours right, but she got it wrong. So I'm wondering maybe if he's more taking this serious and he's into her more than she's into him. I don't know. So I just kind of clocked that a little bit. And then the next question was, what is her signature cocktail? Now, I did think this might be hard, being that these people have not met in person. Because normally you would know that because you went out to a bar, a club, etc. But it seems like they've been drinking quite a lot in the house. So, you know. But a lot of people got this one right, actually. See, Ty and Brittany, Chris and Alexis, Brendan and Kiki, Cinco and Jay got it right. So almost everybody got that right. Um, but one of the things that was hilarious is, and I'm not picking on him because I'm not the best speller either, but I'm like, Chris, is everything okay? Because when they asked what is your significant other's favorite color, he wrote purple, but he spelled it like PURPEL. Like everybody was like, what? Okay. Then Bailey's, like the drink or whatever that you make drinks with. He spelled that really crazy too. Like I forgot. He put like BALLEY or something. Like the host didn't even know what it was. Like that's how far off it was. And she was like, "Oh, I didn't know what you were talking about." And then if y'all remember when they did improv, maybe it was like the episode before last, they were playing this game where um your spouse says a sentence, and then the letter of the last word that they say, you have to use that letter to start another sentence. Y'all remember this? And Alexis, the last word she said was Y, WHY. The last letter in the word Y is Y. So he could have started his sentence with, you will, something that starts with Y. Well, remember, Chris, he started his sentence with the word Y instead of using the letter. And I see how that could be confusing in the moment, and that's why I didn't bring it up, because I can see how you're thinking, why, but no, you need to use the letter. So I let it go. But matched with this as well, I'm like, I'm not judging nobody. I'm just like, Chris, what are the dots connecting up there? What's going on? Maybe he's dyslexic. I don't know. That could be it too. But anyway, so Cinco did get Jay's drink correct. Um, and then yeah, they were just talking about how they clearly know each other better than the other couples. Um, so then the next question is, what's better, online dating or in person? And this was funny because everybody said in person except for Chris. Let me find Chris. Yeah, so everybody says in person except for Chris, which is hilarious. And of course she was mad. Um, but it's like, listen, when you say something wrong, you gotta be quick, right? You gotta get out of these snares and traps. He could have just been like, baby, I said online dating because if we wouldn't have dated online, I never would have met you. You see what I'm saying? You got to be, come on, Chris, you gotta be quick. But so she was kind of upset about that because everybody's like in person. He overthought it, and he took it literally because I think the question was, "What's easier?" I think so. He was thinking, "Oh, well, of course, online dating would be easier because you don't have to take them out. You can get off the phone." He was thinking literally, and I'm with Chris because this is my life, and I also think very deeply and overthink about things. I would have been Chris in this situation, and I would have done the exact same thing. Everybody else is like, "Oh, yeah, this," and I did all these algorithms and came up with a whole 'nother thing. So I'm Imma be with Chris on this one. But when you look crazy, you got to be quick and get out of it, and he was a little lost on that one. Okay, so then the next question is it ever okay to keep secrets in a relationship? And this is a yes or no answer. Um Y'all, clearly the answer is no. And so what have I been telling y'all all along? The producers are starting to stage stuff because they're trying to get Clay to come out with this answer, right? And they're gonna keep putting on the pressure every episode. And so this question was staged to see what he would say. And I also think to see what Kiki would say, because these are the two people that still have secrets. So obviously they both say no, and I guess Alexis makes a little noise like, something like that. So then that kind of causes a momentary scene, and I know Clay was probably like sweating bullets, like, oh my God, what are you doing? So that seemed to really turn Chris off because he's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, if you're making a sound and they're going to think something up, Tatiana's going to think something up. She might come to you and ask what's going on. And so that really bothered Chris. And then Clay is wondering how everybody is finding out because he's like, I just told maybe two of the guys, I think, maybe two or three of the guys. Um, but I feel like everybody knows this. Like, you and your significant other are gonna pillow talk. Like, if you tell my husband something, he's probably gonna tell me. You know what I'm saying? If you tell me something, I mean, unless you say, "Hey, please don't tell your husband," or something like that, but other than that, I mean, you're gonna tell your significant other. I can't believe that Clay didn't realize when he told the guys were gonna tell their girls, you know what I mean? The key is you just always gotta act like you don't know anything, and I think that's where Alexis was missing it, but we'll see later, but, yeah, when they tell you something and then when you go around that person, you just gotta act dumb, like, that's everybody knows that, that's how the game goes. Um, so Clay said no, obviously, and then Kiki said no as well, that you shouldn't keep secrets even though they are. So then, Clay and Tatiana end up winning the game, ironically. And then they all Jared and Charlie. So, let me see where we at. Yeah, Jared and Charlie did the worst. Um, I almost thought that maybe it was a bad thing that Clay and Tatiana won because I felt like that was shining a spotlight, a unnecessary spotlight. So if I was Clay, I probably would have threw some of those answers. I almost thought too that the way it was going, it almost seemed like Jay and Cinco were doing the best. And I think they were surprised too when they found out they lost. So I was like, uh-oh. I almost wondered if they were about to bust out Clay, like, man, that's why. But they didn't do that. But I was just like, oh, it kind of shined a unnecessary light. I don't know if they won something. It didn't seem like it, but anyway, I guess they won bragging rights or whatever. So then Chris is talking to Brandon. Yeah, so Chris is talking to Brandon while they're playing pool, and Chris is upset that Alexis was making those sounds during the game. And so he's just I don't know, I just thought he was really worked up about that, and he's thinking that Alexis is messy, and, it's just so funny how he talks in the confessionals. He's so country, and I how can I say this? When I'm watching a show, I wanna kinda forget that it's a show. Same thing when I'm watching a movie. And, when you're watching a movie and somebody has bad acting or they're overacting, it kinda reminds you that this is fake, like, it snaps you out of it. And I don't know, his confessionals always remind me that this is like a fake show. I don't know. He's like, "Yeah, she's doing that, so now Imma have to go confront her." And I'm like, "Why is he talking like that?" So, immediately, I thought and so he was trying to say it as that I need to tell her this so that because I need to protect her so she won't get into anything, but I was thinking he's so worked up because he doesn't want this to come back on him, right? He doesn't want Clay to know like, Clay trusted Chris, Chris told Alexis or Alexis found out somehow, and then so Clay's gonna be like, "Dang, Chris, why?" So I thought it was more self-preservation. I don't think it was about protecting Alexis. I think it was about protecting himself. Um, so then Chris goes to confront Alexis, to tell her about her actions during the activity. I was a little concerned, when he said I need to go confront her. I was like, "Uh-oh, the energy might be off because you can't come in strong when you're trying to give correction." So Chris goes to talk to her about her actions during the activity. Um, and then I clocked it, of course. The first thing he said, it proved me right because he says that I can't have anybody put me in a compromising situation. So it wasn't about her. That's the very first thing that came out of his mouth. It was about him. And he again, he didn't want to look bad to Clay. That's what it really was about. Um, but the twist was Alexis didn't even know about the secret. And so I'm so confusion. I was confused because I don't know. I guess maybe he thought because obviously you didn't tell her, okay? Like I was thinking, I thought he told her, so he was upset that she was doing too much, but that wasn't the case. And so I don't know. The first thing he should have asked her was, "Hey, when you were making that noise outside, like what was that about?" But he just assumed that she knew. And I don't know. That was confusing to me because I was like, "Well, if you didn't tell her, what are you upset about? You should have said, 'Hey, why'd you make that noise?'" But yeah, that was the twist that she didn't even know about this baby. She was still on that whole vegan thing. That's what she was saying, how Clay was lying earlier. He got so many lies about the vegan thing. So Chris kinda ironically spilt the beans still. I don't know. I don't know. Both of them, I don't know. Um, I did think it was kinda over the top that Chris, um, said that he wanted Alexis to apologize. She was like, "Yeah," he was like, "Yeah, you need to go to apologize to them right now." And I'm just thinking, "You're bringing more attention. They probably not even on that no more." So I was just like, "That's a bad idea, Chris, to tell her to go apologize." Um and then I was surprised that Alexis was so open to it, because the way he went in, I thought she was gonna, like, have they were gonna have to have, like, a back and forth argument, but she was like, "Okay, yeah, alright." I think she was so, amazed by that secret, it kinda took her off guard a little bit too, and I think she was like, "Oh, shoot, I don't want them to think," because that wasn't the case, so I think she kinda took the feedback well. And then the next scene, because I already thought, like, "Don't worry about the apology, like, stop, no, nobody's even talking about that." Alexis goes into the kitchen, so Clay and Tatiana are cooking lunch or dinner, whichever one, and I wasn't expecting for her to I don't know, I just wasn't expecting for this to happen the next scene, so she goes marching in the kitchen, to apologize to Clay and Tatiana, and she says that, "Hey, I was just talking." This was so bad, y'all. I know Clay was like, "What are you doing?" Again, I low key, real low key, I feel like because like I said, y'all, the producer's not gonna have him just keeping this secret. They're trying to put the pressure on. I feel like they might have pulled her to the side and was like, "Hey, go in the kitchen right now and just do that apology." Because I don't know, maybe Alexis just isn't socially aware. I just thought this was so crazy. Like, you are making this bigger than it needs to be by doing this and making a deal out of it. So she goes in the kitchen and is like, "Oh yeah, you remember when I was making those noises? That was just over that vegan thing, remember? It has nothing to do with anything else. I don't know about any other secrets." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I know Clay was just like, he was like, "All right, we good. Get out of here." Yikes. That was crazy. Um, and then she doesn't stop there. That's why I think the producers told her to do this. This was insane. She was like, "Clay, can I talk to you real quick?" So pulls Clay to the side and was like, "Hey, I heard you got some other secret. What is it?" And of course, Clay, I mean, is Clay really gonna tell you right then and there, huh? So he makes up something like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get her some flowers," or something like that. Um, but yeah, that was insane. And when you see something like that, and I'm not trying to ruin the show, but I'm just like, they had to tell her to do that. She cannot be that socially unaware. That was wrong place, wrong time, wrong everything. um, but then again, it's like Clay is in the wrong. And that always begs the question, like, what do you do? Like, if you were in the house, would you tell Tatiana? Would you hint at it? Or would you stay out of it because it's not your business? So it seems like everybody's taking the approach to just stay out of it, which is unfortunate for Tatiana. So then, this was so crazy. Then so Clay claims that he was getting irritated because there was so many people in the kitchen and he couldn't cook. And then Brittany was in there, so he gets into it with Brittany, like, "Hey, Brittany, do you mind moving?" She like, "Wait a minute, because when I was cooking, you were the main one in my way, so I'm not going nowhere." So he gets overwhelmed. He goes outside to get a fresh some fresh air, and he's saying that I guess he wanted to cook and have, like, an intimate cooking session with Tatiana, and all these people are stopping him from having that with Tatiana, and I'm like, "That secret baby is actually what's stopping you from having an intimate cooking session with her because it's on your conscience?" And I think he was just terrified that somebody in the kitchen was gonna say something. I think that's what it really was and why those nerves were getting to him. So they end up having dinner and, Clay just lays it on so thick by, he lays it on so thick by bringing out flowers, and it's just like everybody's just like, "Why are you doing this? Like, nobody told you to do this." And he's just like, "I love her, she's the best, and da da da," and I think in his mind, he's thinking, "If I lay it on really thick, then when I snatch the rug out, maybe she would've seen so many good qualities in me that she can get past it." I think that's his logic because I'm just like, instead of you doing all this, just tell her. So I guess his thought is to tell her when his because they each have like a friend or family member coming. So he's planning to wait till his family member comes to help him get the right words or whatever. So bad idea. Um, so here they go with one of these games. They play a game called Never Have I Ever. And basically somebody says a statement. Everybody starts with 10 fingers. Every time I think you've done whatever it is, you put a finger down. And then at the end, the person that still has the most fingers up wins. Okay. So this was pretty funny, but the thing that came out of this was with Jay and Cinco. So the question one of the question well, the question was, never have I ever slept with more than one person in a 24-hour period. And so Jay puts her finger down, which means she has done this. And I guess that kind of took Cinco by surprise. And he's like, Well, when did that happen?" And she like, "Chill, like, you tripping." And he really wanted to know, like, when did that happen? Like, was it after April? Because I guess April is when they started dating. And so he kept asking her while they were at the table, and she was like, "You about to piss me off, like, you need to chill out." You know what I mean? So he gets upset and he leaves the table, and I'm like, "Dun, dun, dun, here we go. The perfect couple is cracking here." Um, yeah, so and I think he was more upset not so much that this happened, but I think he was more upset because she wouldn't confirm the timeline, right? Because I'm guessing if she would've been like, "Oh, yeah, that happened, 2 years ago or something," I think he would've been cool. I think he was just upset because she was eluding the question. So then they end up talking about it, um, and he is continuing to ask her what happened, and she's like, "Well, I don't have to answer any question." And I think Cinco was being reasonable. I don't think he raised his voice or anything like that. He was just asking a simple question, so I don't know why Jay felt like she couldn't answer it. So then I was even starting to think like, "Dang, maybe she did do this while they were talking." I don't know. Um, but yeah, so they're into it. They're on the couch. He's still pressing her, and like I said, she was like, "I don't have to answer anything." And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I told y'all, did I not? Episode 1, I clocked this as well. Remember, all of the men, very first episode, were planning dates for the women, and Jay was the only one that said, "Oh no, I got this. I'm a plan the date." And I told y'all, I said Jay is going to try to run this relationship. She has some masculine energy, and she's going to try to run Cinco. And I almost thought I was wrong because I was like, "Dang, they haven't had any issues." And here we go. This is who Jay really is, right? So I don't have to answer nothing. I was like, "Uh-oh, here we go. Okay." And I think they kinda took Cinco aback too, because he was kinda like, "Okay." So I think he was kinda surprised, but I felt soon enough this would come out. So she feels like Cinco holds on to issues for too long and doesn't understand why he won't let it go and drop it. But I'm like, Jay, for people to move on, you kind of have to resolve the issue first. And you still haven't answered the question. Like he could move on if you just say yes or no. Um, so yeah, so that was that. Oh yeah, and then the other thing that I clocked is that Jay was like, dang, we were having such a good time. Now everybody sees like, oh, see, they broke. That they or like they broke. They're just like us. They're normal. So now I'm like, okay, so Jay is all about keeping up appearances. She's not about what's real. She's like, "Hey, why are you doing that? We're the good couple. We're the couple that doesn't have any issues. Like, let's keep that persona up." Versus being there for Cinco. She's there for everybody else and to keep up some appearance. So I thought that was a red flag as well. I was like, "Oh, that's bad." You don't want to be in a relationship with somebody that is set on keeping up some type of facade for others. That's not good. And then it kept going. She was like, "I'm not talking to you for the rest of the day." And I'm like, "Yo, this is kinda crazy." Like, I didn't think it was that big of an issue. Like, it's a concern, something that they're talking through, but I didn't think it warranted her saying that. I don't know if she was just saying that. And even if she was, I just thought that was a bit much to say that. First of all, I don't have to answer anything, and you messed it up, and everybody think something wrong with us, and I'm not talking to you for the rest of the day. I thought that was all a lot. And then too, I'm like, Jay, you got a child, which is nothing wrong with having a child, but it does make dating a little more difficult. So you got a child and you're 7 feet tall and you found somebody that happened to be 8 feet. So I'm like, you might want to chill because it's going to be hard for you to find. And I'm just joking about their heights, but she's a very tall woman. She's at least what, 6'5", 6'3". It's not a lot of guys out there, attractive guys that are over that height. So I'm like, you might need to chill real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like he seems to be a good guy. Like don't run him off. So then Jay's sister comes to the house to see what's going on with Cinco. And like I said, um, I'm always, whenever this in real life too, but definitely on this show, I'm always listening to see the account that they give to their family or friend. Are they giving a true account, a neutral account, or are they like, girl, let me tell you all the bad stuff he done. He did this and da 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 da. So that's kind of, she didn't lay it on too thick, but that's kind of what Jay did. She was kind of trying to paint Cinco in a bad light. But her sister seemed to be pretty neutral, and didn't really take sides at first. Um, so that was that. And then Cinco's friend comes. His name was Torin, I believe. So he comes to the house and it's his turn. So I wanted to see what Cinco was gonna say as well. Um, And so again, Cinco's account was accurate. I mean, I don't think Cinco did anything wrong. He was like, I just wanted, I asked her this question, she wouldn't answer. And I want to give a hand clap to Torn. I thought he gave Cinco excellent advice. Um, he said, dog, you kind of did put her on the spot, at the table when y'all were playing the game, which was fair, good advice. She could have just lied and kept her finger up. At least she told the truth. Very true. And then he was like, you maybe should have just waited till y'all got back to the room and y'all could have talked about it then. Very true. I said, okay, Torn. So I like him. Um, and this is so important because y'all might not believe this, but men look to other men for validation, in my opinion. A man has a nice woman because he wants to show her off to other men, in my opinion. Um, Men get nice houses, wear chains and all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's for women a little bit, but it's really to impress other guys. Okay. And this is important because you really have to check your significant other's friends, right? That's always been very important to me, especially, when I was dating. Matter of fact, the very first time I met my husband, I wanted it to be a friend thing. So I think it was like the Floyd Mayweather fight or whatever. And I knew he was interested in me and I wanted to see the fight too. So I was like, man, you should really buy the fight and have people over at your house. And so of course he does that. And so before we even really had a one-on-one like that, because I didn't want to meet him one-on-one by myself at his house because I didn't know him like that. He might have been crazy. So I kind of set it up like that. Like I brought a friend and he had his friends. And while I was there, I'm just listening and looking because these are the people that's going to be talking to him when I'm not there. These are the people that are most in his ear. It's their best friends. And if they're really close to a sister or a mom or anything, you got to check that out too. So I just kind of want to know, like, are they silly acting? Are they immature? Do they have spouses or girlfriends? I'm just kind of trying to see what the conversation is like because these are the people that's going to be giving him advice. You know what I'm saying? So I got to make sure they have level heads and they're not crazy. Um, that was a tangent, but anyway, that's very very important. You got to make sure that. Um, and then I'm also seeing so that you were able to see in this scene if I bring up a issue, are you gonna immediately take my side or are you gonna be on the side of what's right? And that's what I liked about Torn. He wasn't like, yeah, man, dang, she was wrong for that. She did what? Man. like most guys would. He was like, "Well, you kinda put her on the spot, like, maybe you coulda did it this way, da, da." So I was like, "Okay, I love that." You just don't really get that a lot from guys. He seemed to be very emotionally, intelligent and sound, so I really like that. I think that's a really good friend, for Cinco. Um, and then Torrin said, arguing is healthy in a relationship, and if you don't argue, that's scary. So I was like, I don't agree with Torrin there. I don't think arguing is healthy in a relationship, but I do agree in this sense. I think that when you're dating someone, okay, and you're trying to get to know someone, I do think it's healthy, and maybe that's what Torrin was saying because, and because he was saying if you never argue, that's scary, and that is true when you're dating. Like, if you're dating somebody and you're like, "Oh, we've never had one argument, and we're about to get married," that is scary because what you're trying to see when you have an argument with somebody, you need to see how they fight. And I'm not talking about fist fight. I'm just talking about argumentative type of thing. How do they treat me when they're upset? Because when you're married, things are not always perfect. You know what I'm saying? How are they gonna treat me when they're upset? How are they gonna treat me when things don't go their way, they don't get their way? Um, how are they gonna treat me when they think I've wronged them somehow? Maybe I didn't intentionally do it. They think I did. How are they gonna treat me then? Um, are they gonna ghost me? Like Jay was saying, I'm not talking to you the rest of the day. Are they gonna cuss me out? Are they gonna call me out my name? Are they gonna leave the house for a couple days and not come back? Are they gonna start writing cryptic messages on Facebook so everybody can be like, "Girl, what's wrong? What's wrong with you?" You need to know that type of stuff about people. And so, I do think that you do need to get into a couple arguments or 2 or 3 when you're dating. That way you can see if people are toxic, and so you can see, "Is this something I could deal with?" 'Cause nobody's perfect, everybody has red flags, everybody's weird in some way or another, but when you're dating, you're trying to see, "Is this something I can deal with, or is this too much for me?" Okay. So I kinda agree with Torin there. So then they all come together, all 4 of them come together to talk. So Jay, Cinco, and the sister and his friend. And it was funny because they were trying to do some small talk, and Torin was like, "So anyway, I heard y'all was arguing." I was like, "Come on, Torin, just cut to the chase." Um, so then Cinco says he wanted to ask her a question, and she always kind of deflects. And Jay again was like, "Well, I don't have to answer a question if I don't want to." And again, I'm looking to see, sister, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna be on her side because that's your sister, or are you gonna be on the side of right? And I did like the sister. The sister came through. She got on Jay, like, "Yeah, Jay, you wrong for that. Like, you just met him. Like, you need to answer his question." So I was like, okay, okay. So I really like that she was able to call her out. Cause that's what you want. You want, especially too, like, if a guy is close with his mom, that's a big one too. You could need to test out that dynamic. Like, is she just always gonna take his side no matter what? Or is she gonna be on the side of right? So that's important too. Um, so then another bomb was dropped because Jay said that Cinco is a really good person. So they had left at this point. I think she was in her confessional, and she was saying that he's a really good guy, and the people that she, sorry, I got something in my mouth. The people that she normally dates, she has never introduced them to her family. So I guess Cinco was the first person that she's introduced, and that he's not like, oh yeah, because this is what she said. She was saying that the feedback that she gets from the guy she dates is never good. So I'm like, Jay, you got a lot going on in this episode. We're learning a lot about Jay. So she's saying that Cinco is actually a good guy because the guys I normally date, they not good guys. And people always tell me they're not good guys. Yikes. Okay, so another red flag for Jay. And this gave me some insight. I said, I bet she's probably used to being in very toxic relationships and she's used to having to stand her ground and I ain't gotta answer that question and fighting and doing the push and pull of it all. And so I think it's gonna might take her a while to um understand that Jay and her are on the same team. I mean, Cinco is on the same team as her, and he seems to be very emotionally mature and like they even said it, like he's a really good communicator. Like I loved how they were able to talk about that situation immediately after, which is very different from remember Ty and Brittany. They went like a whole day and a half without addressing it. But I like how Cinco was like, no, like this is what I'm saying. He didn't have his voice elevated or anything like that. He was low key smiling the whole time. They both kind of do that. And this is why it's important to heal before you try to get into a new relationship. Jay was like, I know I'm not a good communicator. You need to fix that because what happens is then you get into a new relationship and you end up messing it up like she's about to do, if she's not careful. So Jane needs to make sure she gets in therapy and, just figure out all the bad habits she's picked up from being in those toxic relationships. So then there is another scene with Clay and Tatiana, and Imma just skip it because he's getting on my nerves by not telling her. So then Cinco and Jay were in the kitchen, and so Cinco was kind of joking, like, "Yeah, next time I answer a question, you better answer it." He was joking. You see what your sister said? And I did like the way that Jay took this in stride. She was laughing as well. So I thought that was a really good sign. I thought that since her sister was took Cinco's side, I didn't know. I thought Jay was gonna be upset and maybe like be standoffish and not really be messing with Cinco or whatever. But it seemed like they were good. They were able to move past it. She was joking and laughing about it. Um, so like I said, I think this could potentially work. Jay just has a lot of work to do and a lot of growth. And if Cinco is okay with working through her with that, I think this could potentially work. So then Clay and Tatiana go to the boom boom room for the night. I'm praying they didn't do anything. Um, and then the next day, Charlie and Brittany were talking about how messed up it was that Tatiana doesn't know about the baby. And how, Clay is just digging a big hole for himself. Um, because it's like, you gotta remember that, the first time Tatiana was upset with Clay over that vegan thing, had nothing to do with the vegan stuff. Her thing was, you got me out here looking crazy because you're going behind my back eating non-vegan foods and you think that's funny. So everybody's in on a joke but me. That's why she was so mad. And he's doing the same thing again. Once again, with this whole baby thing, everybody's in on it but her. So he does not stand a chance. I don't care how many flowers, how many I love yous, and whatever else he's trying to do. It's just it's not gonna work out. So yeah. And I don't feel sorry for Clay. But anyway, so that was the episode, guys. I think this was a really juicy one. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of twists and turns and man, Clay just might be able to get out of this without telling her about this baby. I'm like, how many episodes could it be? Like season's about to be over. I don't know if they're doing a reunion or whatever, but anyway, so I'm hoping, I know that I've said this every episode, but I'm hoping next episode we can really hear from Clay to see what's going on. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all. And I'll come to y'all next week with the review of the next episode. All right, see y'all.